pota pota, oh pota pota, oh pota pota, oh pota pota.
Hello and welcome to the Kenyan Artist Program. I hope all is well with you out there this Sunday afternoon. Well, this is a program that features Kenyan artists and their works. Well, this afternoon we're delighted to talk to Hellon and his manager, Daniel Duwa. And just before we speak with them, let's listen to the first track. And this is Opota Opota.
Opota Pota, Opota Pota, Opota Pota. Give me Maputo. Mama lomba, gima yesu kende. Hera yesu hera madera, hera yesu kende. Hera yesu hera madera, hera yesu kende. Oh, ichunga chunya go, hera ni yo puta puta. Igonya gonya go, hera ni yo puta puta. Ichanga changa go, hera ni yo puta puta. Igonya gonya go, hera ni yo puta puta. Oh pota pota, oh pota pota, herano, oh pota pota, oh pota pota, hey, oh pota pota, herano. Gima yes and gima malomba, gima yes kende, gima yes and gima malomba, gima yes kende, hera yes hera madera, hera yes kende. Hera yesu hera madera, hera yesu kende. Hey, ichanga changa ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, igonya gonya ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, ichanga changa ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, igonya gonya ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Woo! Oh puta puta, oh puta puta. Oh pota pota, oh pota pota, oh pota pota. Gima malomba, gima yesu kende. Gima yesu gima malomba, gima yesu kende. Hera yesu hera madera, hera yesu kende. Hera yesu hera madera, hera yesu kende. Hey, ichanga changa ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, igonya gonya ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, ichanga changa ru, hera ni yo puta puta. Hey, igonya gonya ru, herani yo pota pota. Sebane. Oh pota pota. Oh pota pota. Yeah. Oh. Oh pota pota.
Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you.
Let me start with Hellon. Maybe Hellon, tell us how it all started, because you're the one behind this particular CD titled Bizkuti.
Yes. Well, I probably would say that I started as a classical musician. I'm a trained classical musician, trained on the saxophone and most of the instruments that you blow, the piano, violin, and the like, and singing as well. So I taught music for a long time and played music with the Nairobi orchestra. And then one of my friends introduced me to jazz. Mm-hmm. I used to listen to it before, but not with great interest. Mm-hmm. And because the saxophone is mostly known as a jazz instrument, mm-hmm. they wondered why I wasn't doing something jazzy with it. Mm-hmm. So that's when I did an experiment with my first album called Zamar. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see how it goes, and it was a massive success.
The jazz.
Yes.
I know most of the laymen would like to know the difference between classical and jazz. Others take it as same.
Well, classical music is structured in a sense that it's written down. All the sounds are written down, and it's got specific forms. Mm-hmm. Jazz music, on the other hand, though with structure, has gives the freedom for improvisation, so that over what is being played or sung, after a while you can now begin changing parts of it here and there to make it more exciting.
How about instrumental music?
Instrumental music is basically playing instruments, so it's not necessarily jazz. Yeah.
Well, just before we continue, let's listen to the title track of this album by Hellon. This one is called Bizkuti.
Ponda ponda kati ringa ringa kati chopo ube poda heria hera. Ay, Bizkuti. Kati ponda ponda kati ringa ringa kati chopo ube poda heria hera. Ay 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 ay. Bizkuti mit Bizkuti konchut Bizkuti donjo Bizkuti game. Hallelujah, Wanji. Hey! Bizkuti mit Bizkuti konchut Bizkuti donjo Bizkuti game. Aye. Kati bonda bonda, kati ringa ringa, kati jopo ube poda heria hera. Kati bonda bonda, kati ringa ringa, kati jopo ube poda heria hera. Bizkuti mit, bizkuti ponchut, bizkuti donjo, bizkuti gima. Bizkuti mit, bizkuti ponchut, bizkuti donjo, bizkuti gima. Aya. Bizkuti. Oh, bizkuti.
Well, maybe you can tell us more about this Bizkuti. What is Bizkuti? I've always known Bizkuti as something edible, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually playing around with words. I like playing around with words a lot, punning and stuff like that. For sound engineers, there's another meaning for punning. But anyway, I always wondered why a lot of musicians did not take what is richly ours, like what we hear traditionally, and then using modern equipment to give it somewhat a global audience. So Bizkuti basically stands for Benga, Zouk and Isukuti. Yeah, so an acronym of sorts.
But that has nothing to do with jazz?
Basically, jazz can take any style and improvise on it. Yeah, you can take anything and play it or sing it the way it is, and then begin to improvise on it with the kind of freedom that jazz allows. So, as a jazz pioneer in this country, actually in East Africa, I'm the first recorded jazz artist in East Africa.
You sure?
First ever, yeah.
In East Africa?
Yes.
A Kenyan?
Yes.
So how was your first album? How was it received?
Very well received. First, I was told that Kenyans don't buy CDs, and least of all jazz. We've never heard of anything like that.
I was coming to that because most Kenyans, they regard jazz and classical as for the elite. You know, for those, I don't know what I can call them.
Yeah.
The ones from,
the golfers.
Yes.
Quite to the contrary. I think the problem is that it's never been exposed to the common listener. It's not been given, should I say, it's not been widely distributed.
Daniel, you've been so quiet. How did you discover this talented Hellon?
Hellon, he's been performing at different places, and I kind of like stumbled into him.
Where?
And stumbled into jazz too, at a shopping mall where I was invited to appear for a poetry session, and he was playing there, and I discovered jazz, Kenyan jazz basically, through him and through a couple of other artists. And I think Kenya is doing pretty well in this genre. We've been received very well by local people.
Are you sure? Locals?
Yeah, by locals. It's really growing because, jazz, it's improvised, you can't play the same song twice the same way. Every time you play it, it's new. So, and you see, it takes our roots. Benga, Isikuti, Chakacha, all these things, you can incorporate them, and the audience are part of the show too. It's very active and interactive.
Maybe tell us more about this next song, Wangu We. That must be Swahili word, isn't
it? Yes. That's a Zouk song. I just thought that if you listen to the kind of local musicians that have got very good reception, some of them are in the gospel scene, people like Jemima Thiongo.
Yes.
And
she was here last week, I remember.
Yes. They do what is called Kenyan Zouk. And Kenyans just love that. It's very natural in them. That's right. So I thought I should also use that as jazz. Because I think what people have seen as jazz is the traditional type, which is very complicated, and one needs to have studied such sophistication to appreciate. It's like very difficult poetry, stuff like that. So I thought that I could bring it down to the level of the local person and also make it danceable. Because again, people don't believe that jazz can be danced.
Yes,
in my shows, I usually have dancers. By the way, the original jazz that started in New Orleans was dance music, and then later it was made more sophisticated as the elite took it up. But now we are bringing it back to the common man who actually invented it. It was invented by the slaves in the US.
I know that.
As they were singing in their shambas and all that stuff. So it was actually a common man's way of entertaining themselves. But then when the elite found that it was very sophisticated and needed to belong to the sophisticated in the society, they took it up and then distributed it and took ownership over it, and for a moment the common person was robbed of their own art.
And there is a song titled Wangu We by artist this Sunday afternoon. That's Hellon. Accompanying Hellon is his manager Daniel Duwa.
Kimbia bila kulegea, kimbia wangu we usijali kuonewa, kimbia wangu zetu ni za kugombewa. Kimbia wangu we, kimbia bila kupotea. Kimbia wangu we, kimbia bila kulegea. Kimbia wangu we, usijali kuonewa. Kimbia wangu we, mbio hizi zetu ni za kugombewa. Wangu we, utanufaika wangu we, kama malaika wangu we, meta kama nyota wangu we, usije ukajuta wangu we. Kimbia wangu we, kimbia bila kupotea. Kimbia wangu we, kimbia bila kulegea. Kimbia wangu we, usijali kuonewa. Kimbia wangu we, mbio hizi zetu ni za kugombewa. Wangu we, utanufaika wangu we, kama malaika wangu we, meta kama nyota wangu we, usije ukajuta wangu we. Wangu we, oh, wangu we.
What does it take to become a jazz artist now that you've gone to college and things like that?
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. Jazz is the hardest type of music world over. It's the most complicated type of music because you compose on the spot.
Apart from yourself as a Kenyan, do you have other jazz artists in Kenya?
There are so many jazz artists in
But you've
in
never
this
known
country.
about them. Where do they perform?
The trouble is that they play other people's music all the way. So that's why I broke off
From them?
and decided to record my own, because whatever they
You've not
play,
borrowed anything from anybody from out
these
there?
are all original songs. I have 4 albums, all original songs composed by me or some of my band members. So jazz artists are in this country. They are very good. They play very well. In fact, they measure up to their contemporaries in other parts of the world, except that no one has been bold enough to record their own music because people are afraid of failing.
Okay.
Well, it's never been done before. These are uncharted waters. Who knows? You might mess up your career that way. But I think we need bold people who are not afraid.
Is it worth venturing into music, leave alone jazz, in Kenya here, now that you're so experienced in it?
It is. That's
for
what
a layman or for those guys who are
Yeah.
from college that
Yeah.
would like to venture into this.
music, just like any other career, is worth its while. It pays very well. Of course, if you bring mediocrity into it, then you're not going to get anything out of it. One has to focus on it. One has to wake up early, like everyone else, go to their office or wherever they practice and do their job. Ultimately, you earn your living, and a decent one for that matter. Yeah.
Back to Daniel Duwa. Do you intend to launch this particular album that you've come to promote on KBC, Bizkuti by Hellon?
Yeah, Bizkuti is
what's the way forward after that?
Yeah, Bizkuti is a very good project. And due to public demand, we're going to launch it on June 6th, starting 7 at Alliance Francaise, that's the French Cultural Center. And this is just the start. And if you like music and you like to dance like most of us do, this is a different kind of jazz. Yeah. If you like benga, if you like any type of music out there, this is your project. This is the project. I won't say very much. You need to come and experience it yourself. It's an experience.
What does it entail to become a manager? I've never known. I've always thought their finances.
Manager, first of all, you got to love the music. You have to have the music in you, the passion, like any other business. Once you have the passion, and then you get the schooling, the training, and the experience of the people. The work of a manager is really simple. You get the talent and you get the audience, and you marry those two. The musician is important, the audience is important. You bring them together, your work is done.
Have you managed anybody else apart from Hellon?
Yes, I've worked with a lot of Kenyan artists in the contemporary genres, hip hop, R&B, but I've always felt there's a lacking in our traditional music. Yeah. We have very good influence. We have over 52 ethnical groupings, but their music has never been taken to stage properly. And I think that's what we want to take up and celebrate the Kenyan talent, the East African talent, and the African talent back where it belongs. The drum was invented in Africa, and
we need to...
Yeah. So the drum was invented in Africa, and we want to take this back. Where it belongs.
Okay,
and take it to the world.
Before we go ahead, maybe tell us more about Crossroads.
Crossroads is derived from my love for South African music. My most recent tour was of South Africa, Pretoria. We were invited by the South African government to play during Women's Day. And we performed at State House. And I really love the music there. One of the people who really inspire me is Ekkaleo. With his trumpets, it's actually a flugelhorn, but most people understand such instruments as trumpets. And so I like this township style.
Apart from South Africa, where have you been?
England, the US, and a host of other African countries. Not necessarily for performance, but in private capacity as a classically trained musician. But as a performing artist, I've only performed in South Africa. Come June 10th, I'm touring 6 European countries with Valerie Kimani. If you know Valerie Kimani, okay. We are partnering and we are going to tour extensively. This is because I only started music performance 3 years ago. That's when I started recording music. Yes, so I've got into the scene very fast.
Yeah, I can, on this particular sleeve, I can see my friend Danger.
Yes.
Maybe you can compliment those guys who have really made it possible for you to come up with this album before you leave.
I must say that Danger is one of the pioneers of jazz in this country. Like I mentioned to you, there are so many jazz musicians. Yeah. It's just that they've never recorded music. So I used to work with him many years ago with Mado and a gentleman, I forget his name now, but we used to do something called the jazz thing at Zanzibar.
So who is the personnel involved here now?
Sorry?
The personnel involved in this particular album.
The personnel involved, the producer is called Romeo Komeni, Cameroonian, an excellent drummer. And then the keyboard is played by a 19-year-old called Moses Njoroge, who is also a student in my music school. I run a music school.
You do?
Yeah. So he studies classical music there and jazz. And then on the bass is Chris Okana and also Danger, whose real name is Matthew Shitaka.
They know him, yes.
And then on the guitar is Desiree.
Desiree is a good one too.
Yes, an excellent guitarist.
I know.
So you see, those are all accomplished jazz musicians.
All right.
And of course, there are others whose pictures don't appear on the CD who did extra work here and there. Yes.
Where do you perform? Just in case.
Now, we've been doing performances at Rangers, but when I started working on these projects, I put all the performances to a stop. You know, it's a full-time job recording and preparing for shows. Then we've also been doing performances at Mercury and Soho's. But mostly I do a lot of corporate performances. I think because they tend to...
Monetarian.
It works that way. They appreciate this style of music and they pay very well for it.
We wish you all the best. You've been talking to Daniel. Do anything that you want to add, Daniel?
Yes, of course, yeah. To all music lovers here, this project and this kind of project is brought to you by Sound Africa. We have an artist management now that's running, and we're going to be bringing this kind of artists more into prominence, so look out for that. And I also like to thank the Kenyan audience out there who support our artists, because without you, I think we won't be very where we are today.
Okay, the last song is titled
Strefo.
What's that?
Strefo, I like languages. Strefo is Greek for twisted. And that's a salsa one. You know how when people dance salsa, the way they do it in a twisted form. So, again, having an international touch, but using local ingredients.
It's been a pleasure talking to Hellon, not forgetting Daniel Duwa. Wishing you all the best in whatever you're up to. When is the launch?
The launch is June 6th.
June 6th.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.